Well, there's a united front in Canberra tonight against the expansion of the coal seam gas industry. A Senate inquiry has made damning findings against the industry and recommended an immediate moratorium on Commonwealth approvals for new CSG mining projects where the Murray-Darling Basin and the Great Artesian Basin overlap. But the gas industry says the report is outdated and the issues it's raised are already being addressed. Here's more from our political correspondent Tom Eagleton in Canberra.
It's an issue uniting political enemies.
We've got all members of the committee to sign up to the main report with additional remarks, and when you can do that, you know that there's a serious problem.
Landholders in the northern Murray-Darling Basin say the problem is coal seam gas miners, and they've been telling the Senate Rural Affairs Committee their future's being jeopardised.
We don't think the current legislation will protect us.
Now the committee's recommending the Commonwealth Government stop approvals to all new CSG mining in the area until the completion of two key reports on water use there.
I wouldn't like to think that we look back in 100 years, our grandkids, and say, how did those stupid buggers back in whatever allow this to happen if it destroys, unintentionally, the agricultural capacity of Australia.
It's just wonderful that finally we've had all parties sign on to this Senate committee report and recommend we press pause until we really understand what the long-term impacts are.
Hands up, Tara!
Farmers are delighted at the recommendation they be given more rights to stop miners coming onto their land.
For too long, landholders have been on the back foot in terms of rights.
The committee's top environmental concern, the up to 1.6 million tonnes of salt CSG mining could produce in the Murray-Darling Basin.
And we've recommended that that salt not be stored in the Murray-Darling Basin, where it is the most toxic element for agriculture.
The industry failed to convince the committee it could remove the salt.
Your people on the ground, who are very professional and highly qualified, weren't able to answer where the waste goes.
On the specifics of whether such a waste facility exists or not, I would need to obtain those technical details and come back to you.
The committee's Liberal chairman says the Queensland government should never have awarded CSG mining licences at the top of the basin.
There is no known successful disposal of the brine, even though they've got an environmental approval process which befuddles me and the committee as to how they got it. When the original approvals were given to Santos and British Gas, there wasn't consideration of the cumulative effects of the industry.
The bipartisan recommendation for a temporary ban on new licences will carry some weight with the government. More important will be the views of independents such as Tony Windsor, whose entire electorate falls within the Murray-Darling Basin and the Great Artesian Basin. He's out bush at the moment, but he told Lateline by phone that while he applauds the work of the committee, the regional bioassessment process he recently nutted out with the government is a better scientific approach than the two water studies the committee once completed before allowing more CSG mining. The industry agrees the issue has moved on since the committee's hearings. The report has been largely overtaken by events, its peak body said in a statement, and a number of the issues raised are being addressed by industry and independent studies, government policy or regulation. But the Murray-Darling system's already under intense environmental scrutiny after the release of this week's draft water use plan for the basin. The Greens were already disappointed in that plan and may want to push ahead with the recommended mining moratorium. Tom Eagleton, Lateline.